It's gonna be 340 kilometer per hour. The wind blows, whistling, and we can see we're like in the movie.
I can't fight it anymore. There's nothing I can do. There's no reason for us to sit on this boat.
I cried because I think of them.
Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel, Fly Me to the Philippines.
We need to hear the story about life at sea. What was the most exciting adventure you ever had on the boat?
The scariest or the most exciting?
We're going to get to the...
No, we've had scary ones before.
I mean, nothing I'm sure was scarier than the typhoon. We'll get to.
I don't know.
Yeah,
What was
imagine.
what was the most exciting? Yeah, like is there a moment you just thought you're paradise on earth, or so?
Oh, many
Yeah.
places. We went to the most beautiful coves and lagoon and had the most marvelous time. It was just, you could just go. We lived off the anchor most of the time. We spent very few days in the marina.
If you had the boat back for 15 days, where would you go?
Coron.
Coron?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many islands, so many beautiful coves there, so many great places. I really love Coron. Also, Northern Palawan, El Nido, down to Port Barton. That's my favorite place.
What's your favorite?
And then Siargao would be my second area. There's so many beautiful places there.
Ruby, what were you thinking? Glenn said he bought a boat.
I don't know how to swim, but he loves it. When you love someone, you compromise.
Filipina will do everything in the name of love, right? So
yeah,
even
I
though
like
she
that.
doesn't know how to swim, but she conquered those fear. How is it while you're in the sea and just you and Glenn? Did you feel bored, or did it help to make your relationship more stronger?
Well, in our relationship, we don't have any problem actually. So
Congratulations.
It's easier to be together. And another thing is, in the boat, you work together because you don't have a helper. You work with yourself, you cook, and you help each other to clean up. And in the boat, it's amazing because when you travel, you see a lot of turtles, dolphins, if you're lucky. But sometimes it's hard when there's typhoon coming, or the weather is very unpredictable. So sometimes while you're at sea, in the middle, like one time at Hasaan, from there we were planning to go to Palawan, and we leave at night. So it was scary, but it's at night, so we can't see how strong the wind. So our sail got ruined, so we have to stop at Iligan.
One engine stopped.
Yeah.
One engine
Yeah.
stopped working.
Yeah, so those are things that you need to be ready if you want to buy a boat. But for us at that time, because this is our first experience, so we just go and deal with it. The most exciting for me is when we dock.
Oh.
Yes.
We anchor.
When we anchor, because every time we anchor, I'm excited to go tour the place.
What Ruby would do is every time we get to an island, she'd find somebody with a van that would drive us around. So we would tour, go to
Yeah.
whatever waterfalls, whatever sites were to see on the island.
How did you tell your parents, your family, about your plans to be, to live in a boat? Because for us Filipina, parents are always thoughtful about the safety of their children. So did they agree right away? And had you ever brought them to the boat with you?
Well, I never asked them. I'll just go with them. And then I talk them with us.
Yeah, they spent a lot of
You
time.
did
on
take them out boating.
I talk them everywhere.
Yeah.
And what they at deep sea? They
They enjoy it. My mother enjoy it. We brought all my family to Siargao with our children. We enjoy it.
At how many times we were in this beautiful, gorgeous base and no one was around.
Yeah.
We had the whole Philippines to ourselves. The whole country is just completely open.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And what about trips outside of the Philippines? What were the highlights of those trips?
Well, we started off in Malaysia and we spent about 3 months in Thailand.
Yeah.
Came back into Malaysia, then sailed down to Singapore. Sailed from Singapore down into Indonesia, checked in, then went to a group of islands, the Animas Islands, that had just opened for foreigners to go there. Spent about a month or so there, then sailed across to Borneo, and then across up into Palawan. So that took about a year and a half.
Wow.
That was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed Thailand.
you had bought up this undeveloped piece of land in Surigao during this time. Ruby, all the properties that you've acquired and sold, which is your favorite of all time?
Surigao.
Surigao.
Yeah.
The raw piece of land or the one with the coconut lumber?
Yeah, that was our.
Yeah, that's
Oh, you
the
did
one.
build on that raw
Yeah,
piece.
we
Oh,
did.
okay.
Because we lived there. We got it in 2014 before we got the boat. Because the boat, we got it in 2016 in his birthday, January 10.
Yeah, we had the little boat before that. So
Yes,
yeah.
well, we have 3 boats.
Yeah.
So,
The one that was so small you didn't even mention it.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth a
so
mention.
that was the baby boat.
That's a practice boat.
Yeah. So we in Surigao, because the price rapidly up. We got it in 2014 and then we sold it in after Odette, even though it was the island
It's destroyed.
is
Yeah.
destroyed. Almost all of the buildings are destroyed by Odette. Still, the property didn't go down.
So you made 10 times your investment on that piece of land.
Secret.
That's
More than 10.
more than okay.
No.
So, Glenn, you were talking to me, and I've been telling people that there's 2 seasons, and December and January are the milder, dry months of the year. And you were telling me that Surigao has totally different weather, and that Palawan is spectacular in February. So give me just a couple of minutes on that.
The weather pattern?
Yeah.
Well, everybody here will say there's 2 seasons, wet season and dry season. It's not true. What there is there's 2 wind seasons. There's a southwest trade wind that comes out of Indonesia and Borneo and comes across the Philippines from the south, called Hagabat.
Habagat.
Habagat. That's the monsoon.
Yeah, that's the south.
Say it again, Habagat?
Habagat, yeah.
Okay.
That's the southwest monsoon, so it comes across. Then there's the northeast monsoon that comes, like, let's say, from Hawaii across to the Philippines. And that's their winter time. Now, the typhoon season is generally June to January. That's where most of the typhoons come. The wind switches around May and November. So when the major typhoons come, which all the typhoons form in Micronesia, somewhere between Marshall Islands and Palau, in that area, they come across the Philippines, and the southwest monsoon is coming. So it shoves the storms right into Luzon. Okay? Now, the wind switches in November. So sometime around the 1st of December, the northeast trade winds start coming in. The storms are still forming because it's still the very end of the typhoon season. So if a typhoon season starts there, instead of being pushed up, the northwest will push down. So if you're going to get a typhoon in the southern Philippines, Leyte across Mindanao, it's going to be in the November, December, January time when the winds are pushing the storm down.
Right. Now, you said the weather in Surigao was spectacular.
June, July, August, when the rainy season starts, when it's raining here, it's beautiful weather in Surigao. Now, what's happening is the southward trade winds are coming across Mindanao. Surigao is tucked into a wind shadow of Mindanao. So right behind Mindanao, Surigao is being protected. Mindanao is protecting Surigao. So June, July, August, the sea is calm, the weather is gorgeous. It can be pouring down rain here. In fact, when you're leaving there, by the time you're almost to Butuan, it's pouring down rain. You go, oh, I forgot, it's the rainy season. But there, it's perfect. Now, the opposite happens in Palawan, northern Palawan. When the northeast trade winds, the island of Luzon and Mindoro, it's protecting Coron. So if you look on the map, all of that area is beautifully calm and clear because the northeast trade winds are pounding Luzon and pounding Surigao and pounding the Philippines. But that area is in like paradise.
So, Roby, since you have spent 5 years of your life, the adventure in the sea, had you ever experienced snorkeling and scuba? And what is your favorite ocean activity?
Oh, I like to paddle. Yes,
paddle.
I did snorkeling. I learned how to snorkel. Scuba dive? No, I can't. I'm afraid below.
How about
She has a hole in
surfing?
her ear, so she can't go down.
How about surfing?
We did. We did.
Yeah.
We did. We like, where was that?
She had a stand-up paddleboard. That's what she spent most of her time.
When we were in Siargao, we like it. My son loves it.
So many people watching are scuba enthusiasts. People say Malapascua is the best for scuba.
Ah, yes.
You agree?
Yes. Malapascua, Palawan, in Coron, because there's a boat sinking.
World War
lots-
II,
Shipwrecks, yeah.
shipwrecks.
No, I think there's 14 shipwrecks
Wow.
Yeah.
from the Japanese War.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that scuba dive, they go there because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's not far. You can scuba dive even close to the
Shore.
to the shore.
Yeah.
Because like in Black Island, there's a Black Island that we love. It's one of our favorite because all of the places we went is our favorite.
You never intended to give up this boating
No.
life. You were enjoying it. Life is now. Two things happened. In February of 2020, I was actually in Cebu 1 week before the total shutdown. So what happened when in 2020 everything shut down? What happened to your boating life? And then I want you to take us right up to the finality of your boating life when Odette hit.
Okay, well, we were actually in Coron when the lockdown started. So that was in March, and we were in this beautiful bay hooked to this really nice hotel that we had a membership at the hotel so we could get all of our food and water. Well, we knew that June was coming, and June was not the time to be stuck there.
Yeah.
And Ruby was able to get permission for us to go to Siargao because we owned land there. We were visitors, tourists in Coron, but we lived in Siargao where we wanted to go. So she was able to get us a travel pass. When we got to Siargao, we had to go through lockdown again. They wanted to move us into the school, and we convinced them, like, we're safer if we just stay on the boat.
Yeah.
So we moved way away over by some other islands, and we just stayed on the boat for our 14 days. And then a Coast Guard boat came with health people all dressed up, took us in to get tested, and then released us. So we were in lockdown, and we couldn't go anywhere except for the islands of that one municipality.
You locked down on the boat or back home?
We were locked down in that geographic area. We could go to town, we could go buy groceries. Ruby could travel she's doing some paperwork, but she had to do all the masks, and she had to get a travel permit.
So, Ruby, what do you remember about the week before the typhoon Odette came and strike Siargao?
Well, at that time, I have a calling in our church, and I have to have an activity for my primary children. So I told them that they can go to the boat and I will stay in the house. But at that time, it's 2 weeks or a week before Odette hit. He's always watching the weather. The weatherman, his favorite. So Sunday, we went to church, and our president says we have to evacuate to those people that's by the beach along the shore. So my family, I took them to evacuate Monday. So Monday, I evacuate them. Then I told them to leave because they need to hide to that small hiding place when typhoon came. So he went.
Like a hurricane hole.
Yeah, hurricane hole, yeah.
Okay, you're going to sail the boat to a hurricane hole.
Hurricane hole. So he went with my 2 brothers, with our 2 dogs. I buy our rice, canned goods.
Yeah, everything.
It's in case something happened. So I buy lots. So I think I buy for 1 month, whole month groceries to be prepared because we're in the island. So then Wednesday came, I call him in the boat, hey, you guys need to be prepared. I was checking myself, the weather, the typhoon is gonna hit smack in the middle of Siargao. And of course, I think he doesn't believe me because he really trusts on that guy that made a mistake. And then the day that happened, I call him again. You guys need to be prepared. It's gonna be 340 kilometers per hour. And he's like, what? It's like, So at that time, there's still enough signal that I told him, go check your friend, YouTube friend. And it's like, oh my gosh. Then all of a sudden, we cut off. No communication at all because it started at 10 a.m. Just the wind blows, but not strong enough. But at 1 o'clock, it's really like hit the wind. We can see.
Where are you? You're still in Surigao?
Yes, in Siargao.
She went to the church.
Yeah.
So we hide at the church, our church building, and then now at 1 o'clock the wind blows, whistling, and we can see we're like in the movie. You know, inside the movie, you know, you can see the wind picking up the whole coconut tree
Oh my.
in front of you, and then turn it over, and then just lay down on the land. Just lay down it there, fell, and then you can see a lot of roof
Flying.
flying around you. I become like a weather woman because they asked me when this gonna end. It's like, well, at 5 p.m. this gonna be end. It's like, really? So yeah, just relax, hang in there. So my daughter wear the helmet. We hide and we go farther from the glass in case of a break.
Yeah.
So, but we're safe there. Now, you dawn on me at 3 p.m. I cried because I think of them. Sorry. I'm not gonna cry. So I think of them because we have no communication. I need to know, but I can't. There's no way I can know them. For me, what happened if he get hurt? You know, he got knocked down. They might not be dead, but what happened if, like, something broken and then I have no way to get them? So for 3 days we have no communication. I keep going to the Coast Guard, to the port, and same thing. They keep telling me, well, we don't hear anybody yet from the boat. Just come back tomorrow. So I keep going back, and then 3 days after I saw one boat coming from where they're at. So I just went there, and the guard's like, no, you can't. No, I can. So I just ran. It's like, you can't stop me. I need to go there. So I went to the boat, asked them, and all this is, oh, the American with Choco? That's our dog. Yeah, they're fine. They're there. So it's like, oh my gosh, thank you, Lord. Because it's, I'm so worried. And that's, after that, we talk about it because he kept asking me what I'm gonna do if he's gone. Do I like to stay in Siargao? And I keep telling him, well, after this, what happened, there's my answer. Because I keep telling him that I'm not gonna stay in Siargao when he's gone. Because that's what I'm afraid of. If typhoon happen, what I'm gonna do? And I don't like to be isolated. I like to, like, I can get out right away if something happened, but there you can't.
So, Glenn, you experienced the same thing, but you were on the boat. You tied up in a hurricane hole.
Yeah, we'd been there before. There had been a few storms come through, and we had ran down there and took the whole family. We actually had a great time because we had missed the typhoon, but we got the rain. And in this bay, it's all like really high mountains, and there were 7 big, gorgeous waterfalls pouring into this little bay, and it was really fun. So I knew where to go. I knew how to get there. So we went there. Now, what happened is the storm was approaching, and all the prediction is it was going to be a Category 2. And it was going to be mostly rain and not really bad wind. But there was a chance. There's a thing called the Philippine Sea effect, where the storm can hit warm water as it enters the Philippines and turn into a big storm. And this is what happened. I was watching her forecast. I was monitoring 5 different weather organizations, watching where the track would go, and was just seeing what was going on. The morning that she called me, it had just hit this warm weather and turned into a Cat 5 super typhoon. But it happened, and it was like nothing we can do. All the preparation, all the tie down, everything that we could have done, we've already done. Now, if I had a week to prepare, I might have unbolted all this solar panels. I might have taken the mainsail down. I might have done a bunch of stuff, but it was too late.
So
It was just too
you're
late.
rafted up with a bunch of other vessels?
We were anchored by ourselves. There was probably close to 100 boats in this bay. I would say there was close to 50 big steel ships, deep water ocean going fishing boats, cargo ships, and a half a dozen of the local ferries had all loaded this. Now, some of them were tied together, and some of them were on anchor. And Ruby wanted us to leave early, and the reason was we wanted to get the best spot first.
Yeah.
We wanted everybody else to anchor around us instead of us show up. And because the farther you get back in the bay, the safer. The last person is right by the mouth of the bay.
So,
and all of those boats that came in last sunk.
so you didn't sink,
We didn't sink.
but tell the story.
The wind really kicked up about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. So I got up, started both engine, and was driving both throttles, trying to keep pressure off of the anchor. In this bay, on the back side of us was a coral reef, and for some particular reason, they cut the bay in half with a high-tension, high-power voltage line, which was actually right at the edge of the reef, and we have a mast that's going to hit it. So I'm trying to stay off of that. She called me about
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock and said, turned into a super typhoon. She actually played me the recording of the weather guy that I watch on YouTube, and he's out there going,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. It's now a Category 5. Take care of yourself. There's nothing, it's like
Nothing you can do.
it changed so fast that nothing could do.
Yeah.
So I made a decision that there's nothing we could do. I got my two brothers together and the dogs, and I said, guys, we have done everything we can do. I can't steer the boat anymore. I can't fight it anymore. There's nothing I can do. There's no reason for us to sit on this boat. Let's take the dinghy down, go over to one of the ferries, the big boats, and see if they'll let us ride it out with them. So we did. We went across over to the ferry, got up on the ferry that goes back and forth from Surigao City to Siargao. Says we knew the people, they knew us. We got on there with the dogs, and I grabbed all my important papers. I grabbed a little bit of food to live through the night, and we waited it out. This ferry was a little bit closer to the mouth of it, but for some reason, huge waves were coming into the bay. By the time they turned the corner and got around to the ferry, they were still 20 to 30 feet tall. And they were smashing into the back of these boats. Now, we probably had, I'm going to say, 5 big ships, ferries and ships, all tied together, ropes going up to trees, tied to trees, anchors out the back to hold us, okay? And these waves kept coming and coming and coming. And you were sitting in the ferry, and the storm was so intense you could not see the ferry next to you. Well, they started to get a little separation as these big waves and the wind got to its highest intensity, that the ferries started smashing together. And so you'd be sitting there, and all of a sudden, out of the darkness would come the side of a ship and then hit your ship, and the whole thing would shake. And about every 15 minutes, both ships would hit at the same time and just smash, and the whole boat would shake. After about 2 hours of that, the crew started running around.
Yeah.
And me being a captain, I kind of know what's going on.
Panic looks like.
And I'm like, what's going on? Oh, don't worry. Like, you can tell me, tell me what's going on. And they finally said, well, the lower level, some windows had broke out and the water's coming in. They have the engines going and they have the bilge pumps going, but they're not sure if they can keep up or not. So probably maybe a half an hour after he told me that, I noticed they came and they started grabbing the life jackets, which got me a little nervous. Yeah. Of course, we brought our life jackets from the boat, right? So we had our life jackets. We had life jackets for the dogs. Then I noticed they were up in the bridge, and they were stuffing all the important documents in these plastic bags. Yeah. Well, I know what that means. We're leaving the ship. Yeah. So I said, if you guys are going to abandon, we're going with you. Don't just leave us here, So both ships on each side of us were taller than us. So there wasn't a place where you could just jump across. So they decided we're going to abandon ship to this one bigger ship next to us, which was a big ship that hauls all the sand and gravel around the island, the big cats on there. That's a really big ship. And so, but to get there, we had to go to the back of the boat, crawl out of the boat. There was a little cement ledge, maybe 6 inches wide. We had to walk probably 30, 35 feet on the outside of the boat on this edge in the middle of a typhoon, wait for the two ships to come together, and right before they collide, jump and grab the rail of the other boat, climb along that rail, and then climb up the
With the
ship.
dogs.
What we had done is, as the boats came together, we threw the dogs to the crew of the other ship.
Yeah.
And we threw our bags, and we just personally jumped across.
So you made it on the other ship.
So that's our second abandoned ship, right? So we rode out the worst of the typhoon there. As the typhoon started to go down, and I could actually see, because you could not see 5 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could not see at all. And when I could finally see, I noticed that the entire raft of boats that tied together had pulled away from the island, were all tied together, and were backing. The wind was blowing them into the island, and all of them had their engines going full speed ahead as we just creeped slowly into the back of the island.
Your beautiful catamaran.
Couldn't see it, had no idea.
And when the storm finally cleared.
In the middle of this, I have no idea, but my brother decided to go back to the boat, and he wrote out the whole story on the boat catamaran by himself. Yeah. Wow. And that's a whole other story.
Okay, and the catamaran, when the storm was over, was not in the water.
No, it was up on the rocks.
You were able to get the boat hauled off the rocks.
Mm-hmm. By miracle.
Took it to a shipyard, had it repaired, made the decision to sell the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby decided she wanted to come back to Cagayan de Oro. And that's when, chapter 5, you find acres of land at 3,200 feet to start the next chapter of your life.
Well, before that, I stayed there for 3 months, actually, in Siargao.
Yeah. Helping rebuild the town.
Rebuilding the houses.
You were buying wholesale materials and distributing them to all the people who were victims. And you have started a new life.